Welcome back to Wiseman Company, everyone. Ben here, and today we're going to look at the Aimpoint Acro versus the Holosun 509T, a very popular matchup. These are both micro red dots with enclosed emitters. Why are enclosed emitters desired? Well, because they keep everything else that shouldn't be over your emitter, i.e. debris, lint, moisture, water, outside, away from the emitter. They're enclosed, so nothing's going to cover that up, prohibit that dot from being projected onto the glass. So enclosed emitters, in a sense, are a little bit more reliable. More than anything, when it comes to open emitters and blockages, I would say lint from your body, from your clothing, is the culprit 90% of the time. Not so much moisture or debris. That can be an issue, but more than anything, just good old-fashioned lint from carrying your gun around all the time and never taking it out of the holster. So, lint. Both of these micro red dots have their own footprint. They don't use a traditional 2 screws coming down through the top of the optic to hold it to a slide or mount of some sort. They're closed emitters, so they have to use a type of Picatinny footprint. They are unique to one another. They don't share the same footprint. I thought they might, but they don't. They're slightly different. There are a bunch of adapter plates and mounts out there for both of these optics, so it shouldn't be hard to mount these two optics, these two red dots, to what you want to mount them to. But just know they are a little bit unique, and they do have their own mounting footprint. All right, let's take a look at some of the specs side by side right now. Let's look at it. Oh boy. Oh my. Now on paper it would appear that the 509T just absolutely dominates the Aimpoint Acro in every way, and it's true. It's true. Particularly true if we are talking about the value of your dollar to performance here. There's the performance difference in specs is staggering. That being said, the Aimpoint Acro is not a bad red dot at all. It really isn't. It's actually a very good red dot. Let's take a look at that a little bit more in depth before we talk about the 509T. The Acro is coming in right around $600, at least that's street value. That's what I'm seeing. That is expensive. That is Aimpoint pricing. But the Aimpoint Acro is on par with Aimpoint quality in my experience and with a lot of other people I've seen running them. Fit and finish is awesome. That it has aluminum housing, very clear glass, not much distortion with that 3.5 MOA dot. Buttons are tactile, responsive, brightness adjustments are good. There is a lot of quality when you pick up the Aimpoint Acro. Nothing to sneeze at. It really is Aimpoint quality. Durability of the Aimpoint Acro is something that needs to be proven over time. I always say time is the best test of durability, not just with one individual, but multiple units out there on the market standing the test of time, running all the time, different agencies and groups, civilians, through classes. You get a wide swath of reliability testimonies over time. That being said, it would seem that the reliability of the Aimpoint Acro is really, really good from what I have seen on the range, on YouTube, particularly Aaron Cohen from Sage Dynamics. He does excellent red dot testing, if you don't know that, and he has made his through thousands and thousands of rounds and drop tests, and it's still going strong. So reliability would seem, for how new it is, to be on point with every other Aimpoint product out there. Where the Acro lacks, specifically against the 509T, is in the size, overall size, and what most of you know is the battery life. Not great battery life. Advertised for battery life is 1.5 years on setting 6. I don't see that being realistic, since a lot of us will run dots brighter during the day, darker during the night. It's never just on setting 6. I'm gonna guess, if I had to wager a guess, around 6 months to 8 months being the battery life of the Aimpoint Acro. Since I got mine, I have left it on the entire time. I haven't had to change a battery yet, but my Acro, I got it secondhand, and it's probably only 2 to 3 months old at most. So still got a little bit of time on it, just letting you know I haven't had to change a battery yet. The battery is a CR1225, a little bit of an oddball battery there. I'm sure Aimpoint just selected that because of its size. Didn't really seem to keep the overall size of the unit down though, and I can get over battery life. I really can. I just have to remind myself, hey, this optics it's going to need its battery checked. It's going to need its battery changed at a certain point. I can get over battery life. What I can get over with the Aimpoint Acro is the overall size. It is not that much smaller than an Aimpoint T2. Some of you may remember that there was a fad a few years ago of people running T2s on their Glocks. Didn't last long. They're big, they're bulky. It's not great to EDC. It prints a little bit more. And the Acro, again, is just a little bit smaller. It's really not doing you that many favors. It affectionately got the nickname the mailbox by a lot of you out there because it looks like a giant mailbox on top of your slide. Since it isn't that small, I would prefer to run the Acro on subguns, offset mounts on ARs and other rifles. I think that's where it shines a little bit more. It's just again, just not that much smaller. It seemed like Aimpoint didn't really try that hard to decrease the footprint of this optic. When I was running it on a Glock slide, I was using a primary machine plate. So it was an RMR adapter plate. I had an RMR cut on my slide. This plate adapted the Acro to the slide. So it wasn't setting very low either inside the slide, it's setting a little bit higher. It was just a little too big. Really easy to shoot and use, a nice field of view. I would say it's very comparable to an RMR field of view, but the overall size carrying it, you could see the corners of it poking at my shirt a little bit more than if I was just carrying a smaller RMR or Holosun 507 or something like that. Now to the 509T, and the 509T is like hot sauce for me because I'm going to be putting it on everything. No, I am not sponsored, paid in any way by Holosun. Holosun actually doesn't send that much free stuff out to anybody. You gotta be a pretty big account to get free stuff from Holosun. With that being said, I'm still not paid by them. This 509T just is loaded with features. Currently, I have it on my Glock 19X right here. The Holosun does come with an RMR adapter plate. That's a great bonus. I don't have to go shopping around for an adapter plate. It comes with one. I could mount this right away. This Glock 19X was done by Landers Weapon Systems. He did a phenomenal job. I mean, so clean, so crisp. Everything mounts as it should, nice and tight. The Holosun does stand up a little bit taller, just like the Acro, on the slide because it is using an adapter plate. Just be mindful of that. As you can see though, it is a smaller optic, very much smaller, almost a ½ inch smaller to a ¼ inch smaller right in there. Weight is negligible in my mind, but the overall profile is a lot shorter than the Acro. In addition to that, this Holosun 509T is just absolutely loaded with features, and that is classic Holosun fashion to give you a ton of features with their optics. You have the 3 different reticles that you traditionally see with Holosun. You have the dot with the ring around the outside, so the dot in the middle is a 2 MOA ring, nice and fine and crisp, and then you can run just the dot or just the ring. So you have 3 different reticle options there. Holosun usually does that. That's always nice. It's about 50-50 of the people I run into who like to run just the dot or the dot and the ring. To each their own. I just like running the dot. It does have its shake awake technology that keeps the battery life a little bit longer than the Acro, by a little bit longer. We're talking a lot longer. 50,000 hours on setting 6. If you leave it on setting 6, that is very, very impressive. The shake awake technology, back to that, is if the gun is lying still for 10 minutes, it'll shut off. And then when it senses movement, it'll come back on. Leupold optics do this as well. Holosun's been doing it since the beginning. Just saves that battery life a little bit. It does have manual and auto brightness. So I like to use manual, which is setting the brightness to what I want and then leaving it there. Auto brightness will fluctuate on the amount of light in the room you're in or wherever you're at, and the dot will adjust accordingly. The auto adjust does work pretty darn good. I just like to have control over the brightness. I don't want to depend on the dot to do it for me. From what I've seen, it's been pretty reliable, the auto adjust. It can be a little distracting if you see it auto adjust while you're shooting, but some of you would rather just have auto adjust on, and I get that. I prefer the manual. And on top, of course, you have that solar pad right there. That's gonna also increase that battery life. So when you have it on the auto adjust, it is drawing energy from the sun. Your battery isn't working all the time. Again, that's going to add to that longevity in that battery. The battery is a CR1632. It's a side loader. That's really nice. Don't have to remove it from the gun. Just pop a screw on the side, put in your new battery, pop it back in. Good to go. No need to read zero. You're not moving the optic from the slide or mount, wherever it's at. In addition to all these great features I just listed, the field of view on the 509T is awesome. Nice big window, bigger than an RMR. Take in a lot of information through that window. I will say that there is a little bit of distortion in the dot. That could be because there's two panes of glass, not one. RMRs aren't that clear for me either. This, though, on the 509T, the distortion is noticeable in my opinion. And if you have astigmatism, it could be really noticeable. That's going to be up to the end user because everyone's eyes are different. But I do notice a little bit more distortion in the 509T compared to the Acro. Acro is really nice and crisp. 509T, there's room for improvement. Didn't bother me that much though. Between the two, it's a no-brainer. $600 for an Acro, $350, $400 for a 509T, depending on where you find it. You're getting so much more value out of the 509T. Durability, I believe the durability is there as well. I've seen a lot of 509Ts get some hard use and they're still ticking away. Holosun has been great in my experience if I have broke something, if they were going to fix it. And Aimpoint as well. What I'm getting at here is the value is pretty apparent between the two. The 509T is just smaller, better battery life, better price, more features. It just crushes the Acro. It's a pretty easy decision. I'm sure some of you might disagree with that, but not many. I wouldn't be surprised if Aimpoint in the next couple of years comes out with a version 2 of the Acro, and I'm guessing it's going to be smaller. It'll use a different battery, and it could be a very good competitor to the 509T. But as of right now, I don't think it is. It doesn't give it really a run for its money. That being said, the Acro isn't a bad red dot. It is a great red dot. Aimpoint makes great products. This is a great product. It's just when we're talking value, and a lot of you out there, the majority of you out there care about value. So that being said, let me know what you think down in the comments. Which one would you pick? Did Aimpoint really miss the boat on this closed emitter game? Is the 509T still just a Chinese piece of junk? Let me know down in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. I want you guys to talk with one another. That's my favorite part of these videos, the conversation. Guys, thank you for watching. My name is Ben Brown. Go over to wisemancompany.com. A lot of great gear over there. We got some cool stuff coming down the pipeline that's going to let you interact with us a little bit better. That's going to give you guys some benefits for being a part of our community. So stay tuned for that. I'm really excited about it. You guys are going to dig it. But meantime, wisemancompany.com. A lot of great gear over there. Thank you for shopping over there. It's the best way to support us. I'll see you on the next video.